All right, so welcome everybody. I'm here talking with Coach Shari. She is one of our outstanding career specialists. So excited to have her on. She's somebody that really resonates with our clients, makes such a huge impact. And I want to talk to her a little bit about that impact so that you can get to know her a little bit too. So thank you so much, Shari, for jumping on.
Yay.
I have a few questions for you, just things that I know our clients want to know. One of the first things that I want to ask is why does this resonate with you? Why do you love helping clients in this space? Because you could have done a million different things with your career. Why does it resonate with you to help clients in this position?
Okay, so I have done a million different things with my career. This is like act 3. What I love about it is that moment. Whether it's at the beginning, at the middle, and the end, sometimes you get it throughout. That minute when your client gets it. Whatever it is they were searching for, they get it. You can see it in their face, you can see it in their eyes, whole body changes, and you're like, I helped that. That was me. I helped them get there. And it's just so stimulating and it makes you feel good. And then you know you're passing that to someone else who now feels good, and they kind of feel, a lot of times it's relief. They're like, oh, that's it. I'm good. And it's that moment. I also teach, and it's the same reason I teach. When I see a student all of a sudden get that little light bulb, I'm like, yeah, that's why.
I love it. And I love your energy in these responses too. And I have to say, I've heard so much feedback from your clients. It's going to lead me to my next question. I've heard so much feedback from your clients that they felt so much more energized. They felt so much more ready. They felt so much more belief that things were possible. Where do you think that comes from with you? How are you able to, if you could define how you're able to give people that energy and bring that out, what do you do differently or ask differently that helps bring that alive in people?
Do you think that's not code for, wow, she's really loud? Because I'm thinking it is. I don't know. You know what? I try very hard to get to know my clients, not just in whatever sort of track that they've put themselves in, why they're coming to ALV, kind of look at them as a whole person and say, hey, you know, sometimes they'll refer to them, my partner. Does your partner have a name? You know, or when does the dog have a name? Like, I just try to get to know them. And then when we're talking, it's usually fun. I find, if you can't have fun, it's really hard to do the hard work. So I like to have a little fun. I find it easier. I find it lighter. It makes people feel they want to talk about it because they feel safe. And it is judgment free. They can say something off color. I'm not going to go. It's kind of okay to, however you need to work through your process, that we do that together. And in between we throw in some fun to help us just, you know, have fun. I hate to repeat myself. It doesn't sound as intelligent as I'd like, but it's that easy. It's just, let's have a good time, and we're going to figure some stuff out while we're doing that. And it makes the hard work seem easier, and it doesn't seem as tedious. It's not so therapy, which is not what we do. We coach. So I like to try to make that separation for them. And who doesn't like to laugh?
You are definitely have the record as most fun coach, without a doubt. And I think that's a big piece of why so many people resonate with you, is that energy that you bring to the table. So you said yourself that you have done a million things in your career. You've been in so many different and interesting places. At what point in your career did you most need the kind of help that you give now? Was there a specific point in your journey where you would have loved to have future Shari travel back in time and talk to you then?
More than once. And I was so fortunate to have a good support system around me before it was called coaching, right? Because it's more of a new term in terms of how we do it now. But it's always been around. You had a guidance counselor who hit little pieces of this. Sometimes you went to a therapist who hit little pieces of this. You brought in a consultant who hit little pieces of this. You chatted with your friends who did a little coaching. So for me, I could have used one in college before I chose where I went. I could have used a little bit of directional career coaching there. definitely when I went back to school for my master's degree, because I was in the field I thought I was going to be in, but it wasn't quite a fit and I didn't know why. And, then again, I ran my own business. I did marketing strategy. I could have used some coaching there to figure out how am I best meeting my clients' needs. And I spent years going back and forth from not-for-profit to corporate. And clearly the back and forth was where I could have used some coaching to say, why am I going back and forth? What about this? And then I think in my act, I'll call it Act 2.5, when I was teaching at the college level and creating an internship program, that I kind of fell into this coaching as it is today. And I think it just combines all of those pieces. And for me, feels like if I could have had it all along, this is what I would have wanted. So I love that give back part.
Outstanding. So you feel like in many cases, what it does is helps people get to where they're ultimately going to go, maybe with a little less pain, a little more fun, like you said.
Ooh, sometimes you just need someone to ask you the hard question. And it's the hard question. Listen, nobody wants to answer the hard question because it's hard. Otherwise, it would be, let's talk about the easy question. But I think I didn't know that I needed someone to ask me the hard question until I kind of got to this point, and looking in hindsight, like you said, oh yeah, I could have used someone asking some hard questions all throughout. And I think it would have helped guide me. I might have taken a different path. I may have had a couple of different turns, but yeah, just sometimes you just need someone to ask that question for you.
If there were one specific, really hard question or hard topic that you think if everybody discussed this every other year or every couple of years or every year, they'd be in a much better place in their life career, what do you think is that question? What should somebody really take the time to deliberately think about that most people don't think about every year or a couple of years?
Oh, wow, you hit me with a deep one. So on the simple answer is why. And I know as coaches, we don't love why. We like to use different phraseology, but I'm like kind of a 2-year-old at heart, and I'm a why girl. Why? So I think we definitely want to ask ourselves why, and it's why fill in the blank for whatever you're at in your life. That's on the easy end. On the harder end, I think it's a little bit more of, am I fulfilled? Am I content? Am I grateful for being these things? Is this where I thought I'd be? And if not, how do I get there? So those are the harder questions. The easier one is the more shallow dive, is sort of like why am I here? Why aren't I there? But I think the harder question is, am I content? Am I satisfied? Am I happy? Am I grateful for where I am? And if not, what things can I do? What little things? Because it's always the little steps that make the difference, right? First, people who make sweeping changes quickly tend to struggle because they didn't set their foundations, and houses don't stand on poor foundations. So I think it's asking those, what can I do in these short term, the little steps that get me to whatever makes me feel grateful, satisfied, content, happy, successful, however you want to define those words for you.
Ooh, that's not only a really great answer, but it also gives me another great question that I would want to ask you that I know a client watching this would want to know. Let's say a client has come to you and they know the big answer. They know what they want. They know, or at least they know they don't want this. They've answered that question, like, no, I'm not satisfied. I'm not fulfilled. But they struggle, as so many people do, with those little steps, with those foundations. Where do you want to start? A client comes to you and they say, I am a blank slate. Help me. They know what the big one, but they don't know what to do today. What's a small change somebody could make today that will help them make those bigger changes?
Okay, so this is one of my tried and true exercises that I do with, I would say, almost every client, whether they have a confidence issue or not. And I just ask them to find any part of their day that when they kind of regroup, everybody has one. Sometimes people do it in the morning, some people do it at night, some people journal, some people just stay in their head. And the sentence is, I'm amazing because ... And it can be anything from the sublime to the ridiculous, right? It's, I'm amazing because I brushed my teeth today, or it's, I'm amazing because I nailed that major presentation at work. And the reason why I start there is because it just gets people accustomed to recognizing something positive each day. And then you use that as a building block for, okay, now we're in the habit of talking positively, of recognizing positive things. Now let's do some hard work. What wasn't positive? What was positive? You actually ran a coaching webinar just earlier today, and one of the questions came up is, if you don't know what you want to do, is that okay too? And I love that question, because that's something I spout all the time. What you don't want to do, or what you don't want to feel, is as important as knowing what you do, oftentimes more important, because at least we're starting to parse through. So I often start with the, tell me when you were amazing. Hey, judgment free, no one's going to judge. Tell me about a time you were amazing, and then start doing it for yourself, so you get accustomed to feeling okay about saying positive things about you. And like I said, sublime to the ridiculous, because you're not sharing it. It's just, it's an exercise. So that's usually where I start.
I absolutely adore it. I adore it so much I'm feeling it. And in fact, I think you can probably guess what my closing question now is going to be. So for everybody watching, fill the sentence in for me. Shari is amazing because
she loves cookies and laughter.
you do that, and you bring a lot of laughter to the team.
Oh my goodness.
We wouldn't be having half as much fun without you.
Hard ones. You gave me hard questions.
And you gave great answers, which is exactly why you're here. So everybody, this is Coach Shari. She is a phenomenal career specialist. There is nobody more fun than her. I think that you provide a really great example of somebody that might be, for clients that might be nervous and not necessarily know what they're facing, and are a little concerned about facing some of that hard questioning in the coaching process. Shari is so welcoming and gives clients so much confidence. Thank you so much for tuning on this.
I'm your now
I love
girl.
Everybody, so everybody get in contact. Send Coach Shari a message, send her an email, connect her on LinkedIn, connect with her on the links that will be provided below.
Yes.
And again, Coach Shari, thanks so much for your time. Thank you for being here.